Council of Dreams is a council fight. What makes this fight unique is twofold. Firstly, you can only control the movement of one of the bosses, Urktos. The other two bosses, Erwin and Pip, have set locations of where they will jump to during the fight. This presents a challenge with being able to cleave the bosses down evenly, which you'll need to be able to do because if they don't all die at the same time, they'll heal. Second, each boss has an ultimate ability that they will cast once they reach 100 energy. We'll get to these a bit later. I like to take the time to explain what each boss's abilities do, and then how they interact with one another. First up is Urktos. The bear is the primary target and the only boss that you can tank during this fight. As a result, he has twice the HP of Erwin and Pip. He has the only tag mechanic of this fight with a fast frontal cleave called Agonizing Claws. This will leave a debuff on those hit that increases the damage they take from subsequent Agonizing Claws casts by 500% for 18 seconds. Make sure to taunt off after every cast and face it away from your friends. The second ability Urktos will cast is Barreling Charge. After 5 seconds, Urktos will charge in the direction of the current tank. Any target's hit will become trampled and take 500% more damage from subsequent barreling charges for 30 seconds. After Urktos finishes his charge, he will cast Thundering Impact, dealing large amounts of raid damage that is reduced by the amount of players who were struck by barreling charge. You want to have 2 soak groups pre-assigned for this mechanic, as you are only able to soak every other charge due to the debuff length. Moving on to the Dryad, Erwin. Erwin will jump to set points in the room and throw spears at random targets. She will also create noxious blossoms around the room. They are small green puddles that apply a permanent raid-wide dot based on how many are active. Additionally, if you stand in them, they will deal significantly larger amounts of damage. Erwin will also debuff random players with Poisonous Javelin, dealing moderate upfront damage and heavy damage over time. This can be dispelled with either a poison or magic dispel. Lastly, the fairy dragon, Pip, will randomly attack enemies like Erwin, but unlike Erwin, who has long leaps to corners of the room, Pip will mostly keep towards the middle of the room, traversing with short-range blinks. Pip will periodically teleport to the center of the room and cast Emerald Winds, pushing all players away and dealing nature damage for 3 seconds. Most importantly though, Pip will frequently cast Polymorph Bomb on random players. The way Pip casts this is sequenced, meaning there is an order to which players are selected. An arrow will appear over your head and you'll receive a raid warning when you are selected, and then you will be turned into a duck. Yes, a duck. While transformed, you take 99% reduced nature damage and your abilities are replaced with 2 new ones, Quack and Preen. Quack will cause you to leap forward and then increase your movement speed by 100% for 6 seconds. Activating Preen will remove the polymorph bomb from you, but be careful because any targets within the 7-yard radius around you will then have Polymorph Bomb applied to them for 12 seconds. You will be unable to activate Preen until you absorb 3 Noxious Blossoms by running over them. You'll know you did it correctly when your debuff is gone and the ability lights up. I'd like to now cover the boss's ultimate abilities and how they interact with abilities on this fight. Each boss has one, and if they are not stopped, they will wipe the raid. First up is Urktos' Blind Rage. Urktos will begin a 20-second channel which deals a large amount of raid damage every 2 seconds. Each tick of the channel will increase his damage done by 30% for the duration of it, meaning you want to interrupt this as soon as possible. If it is not interrupted, Urktos will gain a 500% increased damage done buff for the rest of the fight. While Urktos is channeling Blind Rage, he becomes susceptible to duck magic. Fortunately, based on the cast sequencing, a polymorph bomb occurs right around the time that Blinding Rage occurs, so you need one of the polymorph players to clear their stacks quickly and walk over to the boss and cleave the polymorph bomb onto him while he is channeling. It is important to note that during testing, I was able to polymorph him as the cast was starting as well. Erwin will channel Constricting Thicket onto all players, which deals a stacking amount of damage, and if the channel finishes, a nasty dot will be applied to the whole raid. You can interrupt this channel by facing Urktos' barreling charge towards Erwin while she is channeling. Finally, Pip's Song of the Dragon channel will place an Absorb Shield on all players, which absorbs damage taken from Noxious Blossom. Any players who fail to remove the Absorb Shield by the time the channel finishes will be stunned and get a massive dot for 15 seconds. You want to make sure you keep some Noxious Blossom pools up to remove this shield quickly. There may be some merit to allowing Pip to channel for longer, as during the channel, Pip will not deal any damage or cast any other mechanics. Phew, that was a doozy. That sums up the fight on Heroic. On Mythic, there are some changes. The most important is Dream Tactics. This will cause 2 of the boss's energy levels to sync, leading to 2 ultimates always happening at the same time. This can lead to some nasty overlaps, such as Arctos is channeling Blind Rage while Irwin channels Constricting Thicket. You may want to have a duck boy of sorts, someone who keeps track of when this overlap is going to occur and purposefully has Polymorph Bomb spread to them beforehand, so they can interrupt the Blind Rage immediately, and subsequently so you can have Barreling Charge occur to stop Erwin. Another nasty overlap is Pip's Song of the Dragon plus Erwin's Constricting Thicket, because you will need to deal with Barreling Charge at the same time as you are soaking Noxious Blossoms to remove the Absorb Shield. Also, Rebirth will now heal bosses to full HP. This shouldn't be an issue if you're doing the fight properly. Erwin's Poisonous Javelins will now cause players to explode with Unstable Venom when it's dispelled, dealing huge damage to any players within 10 yards. And Pip's Emerald Winds will now summon Tornadoes to dodge as well. The TLDR for this fight is as follows. Evenly cleave the bosses down. Take note that Arctos has twice the HP of the other two bosses. Keep Arctos facing away from the raid before Agonizing Claws is cast. Have soak groups pre-assigned for Barreling Charge. Dispel Poisonous Javelins. If you are targeted by Polymorph Bomb, soak Noxious Blossoms. Make sure to interrupt Arctos' Blind Rage with a Polymorph Bomb. Interrupt Erwin's Constricting Thicket with Barreling Charge. And soak Noxious Blossom to remove the Absorb Shield from Pip's Song of the Dragon. As always, thank you for watching, and if you want to learn how to defeat the next boss, Larodar, then make sure to tune in to the next video.